Okay, GCSE season. It's that time of year, and if you're parents, you know the pressure isn't just on your kid, it's on the whole house. So we're going to break down a clear, actionable guide for how you can support them. And the best part is, you don't have to become an expert in trigonometry to do it.
We all know exams are a pressure cooker for students, but let's be honest, it's pretty stressful for parents too. You really want to help, but it's hard to know what actually works. So what's the most effective way to give support that genuinely lowers stress instead of, accidentally adding to it? First, let's just pause and appreciate the sheer scale of what they're facing. The average teenager is sitting exams in 8 to 12 different subjects. That's 2 or 3 years of knowledge for each one. It's a massive step up, and it's no surprise it can feel totally overwhelming. Now, this is a really fascinating way to think about your role. It is so easy to slip into teacher mode, quizzing them, correcting their work, getting tangled up in the content. But all the advice points to a big mindset shift. Your most powerful role is that of a coach. You're the one who provides structure, makes sure they take breaks, listens to them, and, maybe most importantly, keeps the house calm. You don't need to know the subject matter, you just need to be their coach. So with that coaching hat firmly on, let's dive into our first key area, creating the right environment. This is where you can have a huge immediate impact.
The key word here really is consistent. Having a dedicated study spot, even just a quiet corner of the kitchen table, it sends a really clear signal to the brain, okay, this is where we focus. When they try to revise on the sofa or even worse in bed, it just blurs the line between work and rest. That makes it so much harder to get in the zone and even harder to properly switch off later.
And here's exactly how to set that space up. Think of it like a pilot's cockpit. Everything they could possibly need should be within arm's reach. Pens, paper, guides, a calculator, even a bottle of water. It just minimizes all those little interruptions that break concentration and waste so much time. And of course, we have to talk about the biggest distraction of them all, the phone. The answer isn't usually an outright ban, because that can just create a battle. Instead, it's about working together on a strategy. Suggesting they pop their phone in another room or use the do not disturb mode for a study block, well, that empowers them to build the kind of self-discipline they're going to need later in life anyway. All right, moving on to part 2. The environment is set, so how can you coach their actual revision strategy? This is all about helping them work smarter, not just longer. Now, this might be the single most effective study technique out there. So many students fall into the trap of just passively rereading notes or highlighting pages. But the research is crystal clear. Active recall, the act of pulling information out of your brain, is way, way more effective for building strong, long-lasting memories. And here's how simple it is to actually do. First, you review the material on a topic. Then, you put it all away, out of sight completely. Next, from memory, write down or say everything you can remember. And finally, you check back against the notes to see where the gaps were. It feels harder than just reading, for sure, but that feeling of effort is the sign that real learning is actually happening. It's also so important to help them plan their time. But we should probably forget those super rigid, color-coded timetables that fall apart by lunchtime on day 1. A much better approach is helping them build a flexible schedule together. Short, focused bursts of studying, say 25 to 45 minutes, followed by a real break. That's so much more sustainable than those awful marathon cramming sessions. And last but not least, do not forget the power of practice. Past papers are, without a doubt, a top-tier revision tool. Doing them under timed conditions gets your child used to the pressure, the style of the questions, and the whole structure of the exam. It's the closest thing you can get to a full dress rehearsal. Okay, we've covered the space and the strategy. Now for what is, arguably, the most important part of your job as coach, supporting their well-being. Look, exam season is stressful, that's a given. But it's really important to know when that normal anxiety might be tipping over into something more serious. Big changes in sleep or eating habits, being constantly irritable, or losing interest in things they normally love, those are all red flags that they might be struggling to cope. And to help fight that stress, you can help them focus on these 3 simple pillars. Teenagers really do need 8 to 10 hours of sleep for their brains to process and store information. Good food fuels concentration, and even a short walk is a proven way to boost energy and cut through stress. These basics are often the first things to get thrown out the window, but they are absolutely non-negotiable. Now, this is so important. Childline actually reports that a lot of young people feel the most pressure during exams comes directly from their family.
Those constant questions like, so how much revision have you done today, can seriously backfire. Sometimes the absolute best thing you can do is just listen, offer some reassurance, and just be a calm presence. That alone can be an incredibly powerful antidote to their stress. And remember to celebrate the process too. Acknowledging that they stuck to their plan for a day or that they finally tackled that one topic they've been dreading, that's huge for their motivation. Praise their effort and their resilience, not just the score on a practice test. It builds a much healthier mindset for the long run. All right, let's bring this all home with what might be the most important message of all, helping everyone keep things in perspective. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? In the thick of exam season, it is so easy for everyone to lose sight of the bigger picture. These exams feel like the most important thing in the world right now, but they are just one step on a very long journey. Reminding your child, and just as importantly, reminding yourself of this, is absolutely crucial. So, when you boil it all down, your support is about so much more than just timetables and past papers. It's about managing stress, it's about celebrating effort, and it's about maintaining perspective. The real question to take away is, how will you, as their coach, help them see that bigger picture waiting for them beyond the exam hall?